Thumbs up if you hear me. I'm always a voice inside my head, too. Funny how that works. Ladies and gentlemen, calling it now. You have a 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. We've got a ton of great Manning coming up. Big thanks tonight to Mrs. Fields, Court of Public Opinion, who has an old school Manning TPO playlist. I've borrowed a couple of TPOs from that playlist for tonight's show. So if you haven't already, make sure, if you like Manning, and you want to see some of the Manning TPO stuff from back in the day, head on over after the show to the Court of Public Opinion, also known as Mrs. Fields Official. And, yeah, subscribe. Check out more of the TPOs there. I'm looking through all of them. I'm looking for one in particular to see if I can find it. He may not have it, but we may have more of those in the future. Who knows? But TPO's up first. Then we have our standard Manning, bond consideration hearings from last Tuesday. That's what we're looking at for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. In just about 1 minute. We'll start it raw. Hope everybody's ready. This is Manic Monday with Judge Manning and Lone Wolf Foosel. Is everybody ready? Do y'all want to hold off a few minutes? Do y'all want to wait? Nobody wait ever for anything. That's not the way. Oh, I didn't set the screen up at all. But this one I did.
You don't need to tell your mother what I said. Get back on this screen. Turn your camera on now! Send them out of the room! Send those two girls out of that room! Now! Don't say a word, just send them out of the room. Oh, and go ahead and put yourself on mute now. It's Carreker. Need you to turn your camera on. Both y'all's cameras on so I can see you when you swear yourself. All right, y'all swear a firm testimony. Raise your right hand for me. Y'all swear a firm testimony you're about to give in this petition for a TPO is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right. So, gotta put this one lady who's gonna be a witness into a waiting room. All right. Ms. Carreker, you have any witnesses?
I do not. I have evidence that I can present for myself.
All right. All right. And Ms. Arnold, that's your only witness, right? The one I just put in the waiting room?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. Same thing, all right? All right, go ahead, Ms. Carreker. Let me know. Go ahead and tell me what's going on. Start with the most recent event and work backwards, okay?
Okay. So the most recent event will be on the date of May 23rd, 2021. Around about 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., I started receiving a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages, and strange guys visiting my home. I asked one of the persons that were texting my phone, how did he receive my number? He advised me that it was an ad on Craigslist.
Okay, hold on. Let me ask somebody a question. Does this have something? Is there a man in the middle of this whole thing?
It is correct.
So was it somebody's boyfriend at one time and now it's somebody else's boyfriend now?
That is correct.
This man that's in the middle ain't here to testify for anybody, is he?
This is correct. He's incarcerated.
And you two, hold on, let me talk. And both of you women are doing this over some man that's locked up.
He's incarcerated now.
Mm-hmm.
He was
He's
just
locked up, but all this is going on some man that's not here, can't be here, locked up. And this is what y'all doing over some man, because this man is worth it.
This is what she's doing, Your Honor. I'm not the first female that she has done this to in regards to the same man.
It always happens on Friday, Miss Free. It's always on Friday. I gotta meet this one man that these women decide to destroy their life, because this one man's got to be amazing that these women, these intelligent, beautiful women, decide to destroy their lives over this one man. I've never met him. He's never been on here, but he must be something, because this one man don't ever show up. But these women will go and get into all kinds of trouble. Go ahead, Miss Carreker. Tell me about all this. I got to meet this man one day. Tell me about everything that happened over this one man. Tell me about it. I got to hear.
So Destiny Arnold, I'm guessing is his ex-girlfriend. I've been dating him since August of last year. However, it seems as though every female that he decides to move on with, she is taunting, harassing, stalking. The young lady just bonded out of jail. From what I was told, she was incarcerated for the last 16 months. Since she has bonded out, she has been an issue for me since she's been out.
I just want to know what she's done to you. I don't care about her bonding out of jail.
So there was a cocktail bomb thrown at my home. I have a fire report. Also, on May 23rd, 2021, there were strange men showing up at my home because of an ad that was placed on Craigslist by Destiny Arnold, in which she stated that I was looking for a man to come and take care of me. My mom had willed the home to me after she passed away, and that I need someone to pretend like they love me so that I could stay away from her man. I also have text.
So that's how you know it was that she posted it, because that's what it said?
Oh, yeah, and her name is stamped on it. I have the evidence.
Okay, can you show it to me?
She also listed that information on Facebook as well, my personal info.
Did you email me that evidence already?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when they started showing up and calling and texting, like I said, I had no idea what was going on. I had one guy to send me whatever ad he was talking about. She's on Facebook stating, anybody, call this person's number, say what you want, say what you will, and then let me know what she says. She was paying people to text me and to call me, to harass me. She also texted me from her phone number, stating that she would not leave me alone if I can't stop bothering her man. So me and this man went out of town to Alabama. I received a text message from Destiny that stated that I was going to get enough about bothering her, D-word. We can't say it in court, but she told me that I was going to get enough. And she asked me, does she need to pull up to 30 Atlanta, Georgia, 30354, which is where I reside. I come home from out of town and find my bushes burnt. When the firefighters came and the detectives came, they discovered a Snapple bottle with thongs inside them, doused in gasoline, and they had been set ablaze.
Okay.
And this was after she sent the text message asking, do she need to show up at my house? I did not have any address on Destiny at the time.
All right. Anything else?
Everything else is in the evidence. This has been going on since January. And
Ms. Arnold?
It's getting to be very dangerous because it was kids here when this happened, and I can't play with life like that. I'm sorry.
All right, Ms. Arnold, go ahead. I'll hear from you.
Okay, I don't know anything about an ad on Craigslist. She did have I guess a policeman or something reach out to me about a fire. I had no knowledge of a fire until that person had reached out to me. Just this past weekend, Miss Carreker called me and she was cussing me out, and she told me about this court date. I was never served, so that's the only reason I'm here, because she called and told me. So the man that all this is supposed to be about, you actually have met him before. She had him arrested. I'm not exactly what for you was his judge and you denied him a bond. But besides all of that, this has been going on since I've been released. He told me while I was incarcerated that he was homeless and he decided that he wanted to live with this lady. But when I was released in December 2020, he really packed up his stuff and left. And that's why all of this been going on. Me and him, we moved into his grandparents' house, and starting in January 2021, she initiated contact with me, and I didn't know who she was. I just know I was receiving messages on Instagram. Somebody asking me, like, what's up? Like, where you at? But I'm like, I don't know this person. But around January 20th, 2021, I was at a doctor's appointment with the guy in question, and she came to that doctor's appointment basically making a scene, and I did not confront her or anything. I stayed in the car, and she recorded my car when she came out there, and she put it on her Instagram page. So then that's how I was able to link those messages to her. Like, now I knew who she was. So after that, every time we made contact, she basically had initiated it. When I was when I moved to the grandparents' house with the guy, she came. I was trying to get the police report, but since I have such a short notice, I wasn't able to get it. But she has came. I was actually sleeping. I take medication to put me at sleep at night. But she came to the house trying to fight me, but I was sleeping. Nobody woke me up. They was trying to get her to leave. She would not leave. They had to call the police. Okay. So in February 2021, her and the guy had an incident where
I will talk. She says you stalking her. I don't care about her at here. Matter of fact.
Okay. I'm just trying to speak on the facts, because I'm not stalking her. She repeatedly okay. He I don't know if he hit her, but there was a police report filed, and she had charges put on the guy, and she basically told him if he doesn't entertain her as girlfriend, that she was going to take that police report and turn it into a warrant, and that's what she did. On April 2nd, she posted and the guy having sex on her Instagram. On April 6th, this young lady went to a blogger. She went live with a blogger. The blogger had like over 40,000 Instagram followers, and she called me out saying basically that she wanted to fight me and she did not know what me and Mr. Bridges was. That's the guy. And on April 16th, she said that she was able to find an address on him, and it came out. But
Go ahead.
he got arrested. This is what she said her plan was. She said she was gonna separate us by playing with the police, and she said that she would have me arrested, and then when I'm arrested, she was gonna go drop the charges on the man, and then she said that she was basically gonna blackmail him into being with her. So I just feel like this is her plan to try to get me locked up some kind of way. So the only reason why they had dealings was because I was in jail. And she wants me back in jail, basically so she can, I guess, have him without me interfering. But ever since January up until the weekend of Jessica's, she's been initiating contact with me, and she's been telling me she wants to fight me, and that's not a person that's afraid for her life. She's on several recordings, and I sent them as many as I could find to your case manager.
All right. Anything else from you, Ms. Carreker?
Thank you, Judge Manning. Yes, you do. You have met Giancarlo's, and the date that's in question, which is January 19th, the date that she was at his grandmother's home, I had his daughter. His daughter name is Rain. Destiny Arnold has a restraining order. She cannot be around Rain. She was. So the day that I was at his home, I was bringing his child to him. I also placed that in the evidence as well.
All right. Anything else you want to tell me? What is it you're wanting?
I really want for her to, she needs help. She needs help.
Let's see. Look, Miss Arnold, what is it that you're with? Well, you're witnessing.
I need for her to stay away from me. I need her to stop with the fake pages. I need her to stop contacting me. I need her to stop creating new numbers, new pages, just to contact me in regards to Giancarlo's.
I've never been around her, Your Honor. I've never been within. This is the closest I've ever seen her face. I've never seen her before.
Yes, you have. You just told her you saw me at the chiropractor's office. So did you see me or you didn't?
Okay, stop. I hope everybody's listening because there ain't no bad worth all this. Y'all realize that, look, people going to jail, getting locked up, and last time I counted, there was more than one man out there. Way more than one man out there, because on the elevator this morning, I passed at least 4 or 5 in the hallway. At least 4 or 5 men did I pass in the hallway. And Miss Free, did you pass a few in the hallway? Okay, so I know that's at least 10. So there's at least 10 more men available instead of this one that you two women are fighting over. And now everybody's going to jail, getting locked up. Now y'all are sitting here in front of me. And this, one Friday, Miss Free, we're going to have it where 2 women don't get over here and fight over one man and are destroying people's lives and get off social media trying to destroy one another because it's out there. So Miss Arnold, one day you're going to have a child And now Miss Carreker's going to have a child. And guess what? Their children, y'all's children are going to be online one day. And now that it's on there, they're going to see all this stuff. They are going to see all this stuff online that y'all have posted online about one another. Y'all ain't thinking ahead of it, because one day, you know, y'all look in the mirror right now and say, I'm forever going to be young. Guess what? I thought so too. This gray hair came on quicker than I thought. Oh God. Looking there, I see my father every time I look and I listen to myself, I hear my father too. Y'all regret this one day. Thank goodness they went to social media when I was growing up. But y'all are destroying each other over this man that ain't gonna, that look, the way he's treating someone of y'all, whoever he's treating, he's dating right now, look at who he treated that way in the past, because that's going to be you in a month or two. And it's going to keep going on and 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 going on. So look in the past. If he ever asks you to marry him and he says he's been divorced, go ask him what county he got divorced in, run to the courthouse and look at his divorce papers, because that's going to tell you what's going to happen if y'all get a divorce. See if it was contested. See what kind of paperwork he filed. Go see his divorce lawyer. Do what you got to do. Look into this man. Oh Lord, but let me tell you, if there's some woman that's acting this crazy over him, then he ain't worth it either, because she's coming with some baggage. But that's all I got to tell you. Y'all put your emails in the chat for me. Mr. Arnold, your witness done gave up. No. Okay, she don't have. Tell me what your witness is going to tell me, Miss Arnold. First hand, what is she going to tell me? That you ain't stalking her?
No, basically when
Witness going to tell?
Called me, she's been with me at times, and she hear her saying like, "Oh, where you at? I'm finna come fight you," but like unprovoked at all.
Well, I mean, I believe you. I believe both of y'all have went toe to toe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
Because
y'all have.
She was going to piss on my mother's grave.
There ain't a doubt. There is not. I got this, Miss Carreker. I got this. There ain't a doubt in my mind that y'all have went toe to toe. Not a single doubt in my mind y'all went toe to toe. Nope, not a doubt in my mind. But I don't need to hear from anybody else that y'all went toe to toe, because I'm not a dummy. But y'all gonna stop going toe to toe today. So put your emails right there in the chat. We're gonna send you copies in this order. Ms. Carreker, you can pick up your certified copy today. To Monday. Keep this other copy with y'all. Leave one another alone. And the best advice I can give you is, come on, if you can't find another man somewhere else, there's plenty of them out here. Look, I'm looking outside the window. I see some right now walking up and down the street. Find another man that ain't taken by somebody else or got 20 other women looking for him and stalking him. Because that ain't bringing stuff up on you. Ms. Arnold, you done been in jail. That probably had something to do with this man. And wasting your money at Georgia State ain't gonna do you any good if you sit here convicted of felonies.
She just did 16 months behind the same man with a different woman. That's why I
got this, Miss Carreker. I got this black robe on, and I'm at work. I get to talk. When I'm at home, I got to shut up. All right, y'all put your emails in there. Thank you. Give email copies of the order. Y'all stay healthy and safe, and good luck finding a good man.
Mr. Sands, turn your camera on. Thank you. Everybody, raise your right hands. Y'all swear affirm testimony you're about to give this petition for a TPO is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Everybody nod your head yes.
Yep.
All right. We're not all going to talk at once. If we do, we're going to make me angry, and y'all won't like me when I'm angry. If y'all are all in the same place, you're not all going to be able to be unmuted at once. So first we'll start with, so we have, we're all against each other. All right. So Ms. Davis, go ahead and tell me what your issue is with does anybody have anything with Mr. Vasquez Senior? Mr. Vasquez Senior, leave your camera on. Mr. Sands, be still. So why is he here?
I don't know.
We served for junior, not senior.
All right, ma'am, put the paper down. I don't.
The reason why father is here at the moment is due to the fact that there is
He can speak. He can speak. Go ahead, sir.
The police that arrived at the house presented us with 4 documents. One of them have my name, the other one have my son's name. One of them says junior, the others doesn't.
So which one doesn't say junior? What's the case number that doesn't say junior? Talking to your dad, not you. That's Yolanda Davis versus Julius Vasquez.
That's correct.
All right, so that'll be dismissed. Because you thought it was you. You were served. All right, sir, you can go ahead and leave. Thank you. All right, so they served the wrong person. All right, Ms. Davis, what is between you and Miss Beverly Smith Vasquez? Strictly between you and her, period.
Yes, Your Honor, ever since we moved here into this location, Mrs. Vasquez has damaged our property. She's continued to throw things in our yard, like do harassing things. She threw a dead bird on my porch. She threw blood on a mat that I had outside my house, all because I caught them dumping and destroying our property. I caught her dumping. One day they had a big event, like late at night, they would disable our Ring cameras so that we couldn't see anything and we couldn't watch the videos. And I actually heard them and I intercepted and I spoke to her over the Ring camera. I couldn't see it, but my voice was there. And I caught them actually having a dumping event one night where she would cut her trees down and all her things that she didn't want in her yard, and she would dump it in our yard. So when I confronted her and I asked them why were they doing this and to please stop or whatever, they were mad ever since. And she claimed some property of ours that wasn't hers, that we didn't have any idea. We let her, do what she wanted to do. She planted some trees on our property that she knew wasn't her property line. And she planted trees there. And when questioned about that, she said to me that, oh, I don't want my land to wash away. That's why I planted those trees there. And it's just been an ongoing issue, Your Honor, with her just damaging property. We had a fence put up. They've been cutting the fence, Your Honor, damaging the property every single night, flying drones over our house. We have no privacy. If I held up my camera to my windows, you will see that we have black film put up to our windows because we literally have seen them looking through the windows, Your Honor.
Who have you seen looking through the windows?
Miss Beverly and her son.
So who's her son? There's two men on here.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
All right, what about Mr. Sands? What have you seen him doing?
Mr. Sands he's a friend of theirs. So he's been roaming the neighborhood, damaging our property also. He has a cutter. He's a grass cutter around here. I guess he has his own lawn care business. So he's been coming around our home, just stalking the area. I can be outside with my dogs. I can be outside. I will literally see him peeking through the fence, like watching me where I'm going. I've even seen him across the street and stand back in a person's yard and look up to my windows. And I'm standing right there in the windows watching him, Your Honor. We have all hardware cameras, so I'm able to stand upstairs and watch their location and watch what he's literally doing. One day I got in my car and followed him and watched him go around the corner onto Greyheart, a different street in our location. And he was flying his drone near our neighborhood, right in our backyard, sitting in his truck. I have literally seen him with my own eyes, Your Honor. And it's an uncomfortable feeling. I feel like they're trying to intimidate and watch us. Our Wi-Fi, everything has been compromised. We had to go and get a whole new, I don't even have an email address right now because they've compromised my email address. They've broken into our Wi-Fi, disconnect our Wi-Fi system and our cameras throughout the day. This has been going on, Your Honor, since we found out, I want to say, and when we really literally found out that it was them doing it, I want to say it had to be around March of 2020.
So what have you seen Mr. Vasquez do specifically?
Specifically standing right in his yard with his cell phone, and I have lining his cell phone up to our Ring cameras to disconnect our cameras over and over again. We have seen him with his drone in the backyard, with his drone in the backyard. And when my husband walked up and saw him with it, he tried to hide it. It's just continuously, it's an uncomfortable feeling, Your Honor. I feel like we're being stalked, we're being watched 24 hours a day. It's been awful, Your Honor. It's just been horrible. Even up until recently, this Thursday, I had to call the police. There's been numerous police reports regarding all of these situations. Even up until this past Thursday, they tried to start a fire in our backyard.
What did they do?
The pine straw in our backyard, it was literally set on fire. There's fire patches in our backyard.
How do you know they did it?
I'm sorry?
How do you know that they did it?
Your Honor, there's no one that will come on our property. They've been the only persons that we've been having problems with. Once again, they disarm the cameras so that we can't see, so that it fogs out the cameras while they do their deeds, Your Honor. We have no other issues with no other neighbors. There's no reason for anyone to want to burn down our house and burn down our yard.
All right, sir, I'll hear from you. Go ahead.
So some of the most same issues.
Well, tell me what you've seen in particular.
So we see the droning, the stalk.
Who are you connecting it to?
Huh?
How are you connecting the drone to one specific individual?
Well, because I saw it, I seen the drone. And my neighbor's backyard, Mr. Vasquez.
You've seen the drone, but how do you know it's him flying it?
That's the one I seen out in the backyard. I was standing on the back porch looking.
So you've seen him flying it, like him land it or something?
No, he had it landed and put it on the ground in front of him, and then I turned my back and then he had picked it up and went in the house with it.
Have you seen anybody specifically disconnecting your Ring doorbell?
Well, we can't see that because it's all electric. It's all total wired in, but they got multiple email address network that leads to their house, and there's plenty of them.
Why do you know it's them that are disconnecting your Ring doorbell?
Because they're the only one next. We got neighbors around us, but they got all about the same, have almost the same exact type of wording.
And can I say something, Your Honor? I have approached them, and they know for a fact. I have come outside of my house and said, attention neighbors, they're dislocating, they're disarming my Wi-Fi cameras and my internet or whatever. When I call their names out and I say it, all of a sudden everything pops back on, Your Honor. And at the time, no one else is home. They're the only ones home next door. And every time we have these incidents and I go outside and voicefully speak them, all of a sudden when they know the attention's coming, all of my information, everything pops back on. And we have literally seen Mr. Junior Vasquez. He sits, their windows point towards our windows. So just like how he's sitting there with his headset on now, he has his camera, his laptop and everything facing directly at our windows, watching our every movement. And I've contacted Verizon, I've contacted Xfinity, and they told us for a fact that our Wi-Fi and everything has been compromised and had been hacked. So we had to change everything, phone numbers, everything, had to get a whole new system put in.
When you say they're disabling your Ring doorbell, have you seen either one of them doing it?
Well, not literally with my eyes, no.
So then how do you know, okay, so you've seen Ms. Vasquez putting something in your yard. What have you physically seen Mr. Vasquez do?
Junior, like I said, just facing the camera, it's just stalking up and down the fence and literally just going outside and holding up his phone. He does it, his sister does it, even the mom has done it. They literally, because our cameras are facing right towards their yard and on that side, they hold their phone up and what they're called, from my understanding, is called a camera jammer or a Wi-Fi jammer. It's some type of app that they have on their phone that they can do to disconnect your Wi-Fi cameras, Your Honor. It seems like every time I see them do it, all of a sudden the cameras go out. They go offline and we can't get them back on. They start roaming. And this is all the time. Like, there's no one else around. There's no one else. We have literally seen them with our own eyes. And sometimes I think they do it to try to intimidate, because even if I'm outside by myself, they purposely do it. Take the phone and hold it up straight to our cameras and start clicking. So if I answer the Ring camera right away when they are trying to ring into it, somehow they get into it, and that's how they knock our cameras offline.
Mr. Sands, I'll hear from you.
Yes, Your Honor. Everything they're saying is, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't even own the drone. I don't even know what they're talking about, honestly. Yesterday, I just realized their name. I don't even pay attention. You know, I've been staying in this neighborhood for 10 years, and I honestly don't, you know, I keep to myself. All the neighbors around here keep to themselves. And since they have moved in, I mean, it's been total, it's the police. You notice the police down the street all the time. So I don't know. I don't know what the problem is, honestly.
You haven't been over at their house?
No, ma'am. I cut the yard, you know, I cut the yard next door to them. So I stayed on that Ms. Valdez property line, and I never cross it. I don't know what they're talking about. I've been in their windows and all that. No, who's going to go in someone's windows? Not me.
Ms. Vasquez, I'll hear from you. Go ahead.
Your Honor, I have no understanding as to why our neighbors have brought these type of accusation against me and my family. All these allegations are false. And in regards to petition 2021CV352657 brought to me by the petitioner Yolanda Davis, number 3, it says April 17, 2021. It says that I was also on June 9th and June 29th standing on the side of their house. Your Honor, I work remotely, and on April 9th to April 18th, I was out of the state. I have my flight information, Frontier 2385, when I came back in on the 18th in the Atlanta airport. On April 30th to July 24th, I was out of state. I work remotely, and all my out-of-state timestamp location for my company can be verified by my supervisor, Sandra Piggott. I can give you her telephone number.
Yeah,
all the other allegations are false. All of them are false.
Mr. Vasquez.
None of these allegations are true. I do not own a drone. When I am outside of my yard, I am usually talking on the phone with people. I have taking out my dog usually, or tending to my trees. When I am sitting in my room, the dining room where these windows were mentioned, that is my dining room. I eat there, I work there, I watch things there, but it's my dining room. There's nothing else there. I did the same. I didn't know these people. I keep to myself. I'm not a very social person, and that is it.
I mean, why do they seem to think, ma'am, why do they seem to think that you dumped something on their yard?
Your Honor, are you talking to me?
Yes, Ms. Vasquez, why do they think you dumped something on their yard? She says she's seen you dumping stuff in their yard.
I do not know, Your Honor. You'll have to ask that to them. I really do not know.
So I asked her. She said she saw you dump something in her yard.
I did not dump anything in her yard, Your Honor. And my neighbor has cameras, Your Honor, so I don't know. I did not dump, and I have never dumped anything in my neighbor's yard.
Why would she say you've been dumping stuff in the yard?
I really don't know, Your Honor, honestly.
Something's going on. If people don't just make stuff up. So what, I mean, what's going on?
All I can tell you, Your Honor, is that honest to goodness, still, the last communication I had with our neighbors was in the fall of last year when Miss Davis came to my door and called me to the corner of my house. And actually, you could probably see the background from the camera, but it's not that her house is right close by. And asked me and claims that I buried her sprinkler, that I threw dead snake in her yard, that I need to remove my trees because the roots of the trees are going to grow into her yard, and that I cut her fence. Since then, Your Honor, I have not had absolutely no communication, no confrontation with Miss Davis. Since then, I've had, I can show, my daughter can show you, Miss Davis goes on the next door site that we have, that we share as a community, and she posted things about me, the neighbor next door. And in response to her post, which was I was cutting her fence, there was a comment on there that someone commented that they would just pop one over here. I have, other neighbors have also asked her to please post the video, because the video that was posted just showed the warping of the fence and the natural aging of a fence. I have, since then, nothing has been posted. Since that issue, that situation, I work from home. I have my office upstairs, and I can hear Miss Davis sometimes yelling and screaming. The neighborhood is very quiet, Your Honor. There is a lot of, everybody here are working people, and the neighbor is very quiet. So when you hear loud noises, it calls your attention. And she, at one point, my neighbor across the street in front, that is a nurse, had to come over and talk to her. Besides that, now this case that we didn't have no idea about what's going on now. My whole question is, where are they gonna go from here? It just seems like it's all bad faith.
Your Honor, can I speak?
Okay.
Regarding the neighborhood thing that she said that I wrote on the next door, that happened in July, I want to say, of 2019. So that goes to show how long this has been going on. Either July, it was sometime, I know it was kind of in the summertime. July of 2020, because this has been going on for so long. For one, I never named her name. I said we're living around sowers of discord, because that's when we started finding out all the things that was going on in our neighborhood as far as our property and what was going on. And what we did, because they were claiming some property that wasn't theirs, we had no idea, Your Honor. We were just living in our little square that we were living in. And someone started damaging the fence at this time. So what we did was we went and got a survey done. So when the survey was done in September, that's how we found out all the land, extra land that belonged to us that was ours. And they seem to have gotten upset. My husband had no idea that our property line went further than it was until after the survey, and then we had gotten our irrigation system working. So once the irrigation system started working, because what happened was the sprinklers were buried down in the yard, and it was buried down further up the hill where she lives. So once he got sprinklers working, everything, they started popping up out the ground everywhere. That's when we realized our property was our property, Your Honor. And even after then or whatever, I never accused her of cutting the fence.
Did she not just say in the beginning of this hearing that her neighbors did in fact cut her fence? Let's go back and check.
We had a fence put up. They've been cutting the fence, Your Honor. We got the fence in 3 weeks, Your Honor. The fence was starting to get sliced on the side of their house, Your Honor, like little peeking. A fence does not settle within 3 weeks. A house takes years to settle once it's built or whatever. The guys that fixed our fence, due to they can't speak English well, communication, they even admitted when they came by here that no, your fence was not like this. We did not do this to your fence. Your fence would not settle like this within 3 weeks. Every time we leave our Honor, we come home to more damage, or her cutting up her trees and purposely throwing them over the fence, doing anything to try to irritate me and to get things going, Your Honor. So yes, there have been times when at the point of incidents of happening, I have gone outside and I'm yelling like, leave us alone. Please leave us alone. Stay off of our property. Why are you doing this? I've called her evil because I've seen some of the things she's done. She's repeated back to me personal conversations that we have had in our home. She literally came out, oh yeah, so we don't vote. We can't vote and all this, just different things, Your Honor, that she has come out and said. And I'm like, how did you hear that conversation? They sit outside their porch on their backyard, Your Honor, yes, just to listen to our conversations. This is every day, Your Honor. I wouldn't make this up. We live peacefully in our home, even up until all this was going on. I have witnesses that have been here who have witnessed some of the things that have gone on, Your Honor. At the end of the year of 2020, it had to be in December because there's been so much friction going on between us here. I sent Mrs. Vasquez a fruit basket with fruits and chocolates just to say, hey, I don't know where we got off on the wrong feet. I don't know what's going on with us, but can we be the queens that we were born to be? And let's get past this. Let's just move on. I didn't want to go into 2021 with more incidents happening, Your Honor. She accepted the basket. They ate all the fruits and whatever. Come after January 1st, oh, it was worse, Your Honor. The situations got worse. It was continuous. The drone flying, they're still disabling our Wi-Fi cameras. I mean, everything, Your Honor, everything that we said was true. Like I said, that's when we found out. This was like in March, in which a dead bird was thrown on our porch. We sent you all the information in which once I caught Ms. Vasquez and I asked them to stop damaging our property or throwing things on the property, Your Honor, we ended up with a dead bird on our porch. After the dead bird was thrown on our porch, Your Honor, I got a new rug. I threw everything away and was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with these people, why they're still doing this mean stuff. Your Honor, I get a new rug, a biblical rug, Psalms 91, we are covered. Well, someone threw blood, some type of blood all over the rug. I called the police came out, took a report of everything that's been going on. So from, I want to say it was April 1st on through, we have a particular officer, Corporal Fears, who works through the South Fulton Police Department, who's been working with us on a day-to-day basis. So that's why you see so many police coming by. They've been watching our property. Whenever there's an issue going on, I have to text him to keep him up to date with what's going on. So every day that these drones are flying over our house, hovering on the side of our house, all near our bedrooms and everything, I text Corporal and let him know what's going on a day-to-day basis, Your Honor. So there are police officers that know what's going on in this area. They just said, because they keep disabling our Wi-Fi and everything, we're having a hard time catching them but they know that this disturbance is going on. We even had a meeting with our HOA, which they had a meeting with the whole community explaining that drones are disallowed in our community. Our homes are too close together. No one should be flying a drone near our homes anywhere. So yes, Your Honor, this has been going on for a long time. Even up until, like I said, this past Thursday, in which someone tried to set our yard on fire. We have pictures of everything, Your Honor. We sent everything to you. Yes. And this is one where you can tell where when she's out doing her yard work, this is what she does. She throws all kind of stuff over the fence, see the fire in the yard. It's just all the time, Your Honor. We have no excuse to lie. Mr. Sanders had enough to even tell my husband everything was fine until you guys moved in over here. Everybody, we get along with everyone here. We came in this community willing to help, when COVID started, my neighbors across the street are seniors. I personally went and rang the bell and was like, do you all need anything from Walmart? From the store, I know COVID's going on. You don't need to be out in this location. You don't need to be out. I work with seniors. So yes, Your Honor, we've been nothing but of service to our neighbors. These are the only ones who we don't seem to get along with. I don't know why. Like I said, we moved in, started cleaning up and just claiming our land. That's it, Your Honor. And from then on, it's been issues with our neighbors constantly, every single day, Your Honor. I have a whole streamline of texts that Corporal have been going back and forth. They come around here and they sit and watch, and they have been watching certain individuals because they know what we're saying is true, that we have literally seen them with our own eyes, flying this drone and walking up and down, up inside the sidewalk, just peeking through. It's an uncomfortable feeling, Your Honor. Who would want to take a shower and not feel like someone's looking in through your windows or zoning in, flashing something through your windows, Your Honor? We have no reason to lie about this. None at all. None
Right.
at all.
So here's the thing, though. We don't have any video or anything like that other than what you're saying. So I don't necessarily have proof, you know. So all I can say is to the Vasquez's and Mr. Sands, if you're doing this and they come back again and they have proof, you guys are going to have a TPO against you, which means once it's put in place, if you violate it, you can get arrested for aggravated stalking, which means 10 years in prison. So if you're doing something to these people, you need to stop. Am I clear?
Your Honor,
Yes.
can I say
Am I clear?
something?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
perfect, Mr. Sands. Mr. Vasquez,
I am clear. Can I speak? on
I've just
something?
wanted that you're clear.
All right.
As long as
I am
I've made
clear.
I'm
myself
clear.
this needs to be crystal clear because, I mean, everybody's got to live in peace. There's way too much going on in the world for us to be harassing or doing whatever to our neighbors. Our neighbors are the only ones we're going to be able to depend on these days to try to take care of us because then nobody else taking care of. There's too much stuff going on in Fulton County and all around this world for us to be harassing the people who are going to be the ones that's looking out for us if something goes wrong.
Your Honor, can I say something? I did not want to bring my neighbors as witnesses, but the neighbor that
I don't want
which is referred
your
to-
neighbors as witnesses. I'm telling you what to
Exactly.
do. That if you're doing something, to leave it alone and stop right now. This is your one and only warning. One more time in here, and she's going to have proof. Then everybody's going to be in trouble. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Can
Your
I,
Honor.
Thank you.
I-
So, Bostic, they said we're going to reset Wimbush so that, well, you heard Canterbury, right?
She said she wanted to stay.
Well, you know, she's up there at Cobb, so I'm going to let her go ahead and go in. So I just need Lindsay.
Okay.
All right, let's see. How about we'll take Timothy Haynes. Is Miss Browning here yet? Miss Browning's not here yet. What about Miss Gerber? We'll take this until Miss Browning gets here. All right, so
Your
we'll take,
Honor, Miss Browning is on I'm covering for Miss Browning, Your Honor.
Okay, okay,
But we can definitely go ahead and take Miss Gerber's case first while I prepare.
okay. All right, so wave your hand when I call your name. Is it Antron Lindsay? Or just nod your head. There you go. Okay, thank you. All right, it's position 3, Bostic 24 PI 004807, 96 days without indictment. There is a $36,000 good bond as of July 6th for cruelty in the second, simple battery, family violence, disorderly conduct, and cruelty in the third. Pre-trial, unless something's been dismissed or something at a prelim, Ms. Gerber, let me know. Pre-trial.
Which defendant?
Lindsay, oh, Antron Lindsay, sorry. Number 3.
Lindsay Antron. 17 cycles hold for probation violation 4/17/24, ag assault in 2017, DUI in 23, FTA in 2017 and 19. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Gerber.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lindsay is going on 36 years old. When I was able to meet with him up in Cobb County, he and I spoke about him being in this position in life where he knows he's got some cycles, but at going on 36, he is ready to work on really trying to not be labeled by that past and going forward from that. Before his most recent arrest, he was actually working at the Dollar General warehouse down in Noonan, and I believe his hold is for Noonan at the moment. But they have an $18 an hour rate that he could go back to if released. And so we are requesting that he be allowed to return to that work. He has an address in Coweta County, where he would be living at his sister's house, and so he would be able to abide by any stay away. Unfortunately, the amount that the bond has been at for the last few weeks is just outside of his or his family's ability to pay. So we would ask the court to consider a $15,000 bond. He is the father of 6 children that he would like to provide for, and he did share with me that the issues in this case and a lot of the cycles that Your Honor may see is that he does drink. That's his one vice, and that sometimes that does get the better of him, but that can be, Your Honor, controlled with any type of, no drinking requirement on a bond, Your Honor. And so we would ask that you lower the bond so that he can await the indictment from the state on the outside and contribute to his children's life in a more meaningful way.
Ms. Dorsey Jones, have you spoke with the victim?
Your Honor, the person that answered, they said that they would ask that bond be denied.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. White.
Judge, this defendant has a previous felony conviction from 2016 for an aggravated assault with family violence. And I'm just trying to see if it's the same victims, but I don't have, no, it's not, it's a different victim. The previous victim was Miss Bianca Campbell. It appears that this victim is Miss Amanda Davis. Your Honor, having a previous family violence, now we're here on a second family violence. Also the fact that he has 17 cycles, and the previous family violence was from 2016, less than 10 years ago. Judge, this is not a good candidate for bond, certainly not a good candidate for any reduction in bond from a very reasonable bond that's currently set at $36,000. Now that he has a bond, there is no presumption of any prejudice. No presumption will attach for at least another 9 months. And the state, in fact, now has another 3 years and 9 months to indict this case before there is really any legal prejudice at all to this defendant. There is no basis in either law or fact for this defendant's bond to be reconsidered. The state does object to any change in the bond at this time.
All right.
And Your Honor,
Go ahead.
I neglected to ask if Ms. Jones knew who it was that answered the line, because I do believe that is a change in position for the victims compared to the notes I have from Mr. Rogalski regarding the first.
She didn't. She just told me she was a family member and that they did not want him to get out. I didn't speak directly to the victim. She just said that she was a family member.
Okay.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Sir, you're going to stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. That's the only reason you come to Fulton County. As soon as you get out, you get in your car and you drive down there. No further contact with Amanda Dennis. Stay away from 942 Hank Aaron Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, which should be fine because you're just going to stay out of Fulton County. Let's see. You have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. So I got 19,000, 9,500, and 3,000. 19,000, 9,500, and 3,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Timothy Haynes. All right. We got position 5, Timothy Haynes, 24 PI 001921. 204 days without indictment. I've got, was a $4,000 good bond. I think we brought this back because he'd been accepted.
That's correct, Your Honor.
In the Hope House. So he's got debt by taking, financial transaction card fraud, and financial transaction card fraud. Wow.
In regards to Haynes, 32 cycles, FTAs, forgery in the first, 10 counts. That's old. 1, 2, 3, 4. Felonies more than 10 years old. 2016 burglary, 2016 financial transaction card theft in 2016, and 2019 couple of probation violations. 2022 CP 214966 financial transaction, 3 counts, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Beck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Haynes has been in for over 200 days. As you said, 204 days. He is 53 years old. He has lived in Atlanta for the last 20 years. He is a high school graduate. Prior to his arrest 204 days ago, he was living in the Atlanta Recovery Center. However, as you mentioned, he has been accepted into the Hope House program. So now that he has a place to go, these are all non-violent crimes. We would be asking for a bond not to exceed $2,000 so we can utilize the bail project to try and get him out so that he can go into this program.
All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
The state will note that this defendant also has an indicted case 24SC 002172, and just trying to see if this has been and this was transferred to Judge McBurney because this defendant is a C recidivist and has more than 5 lifetime felony convictions. Judge, he's got I understand that, you know, the Hope House, but this defendant is just not a good candidate for bond, probably not a good candidate for the Hope House, given the fact that he committed the current offense while he was on bond for a previous offense that was financial transaction card theft, 3 counts, financial transaction card fraud, 1 count, possession of tools for a crime, and criminal trespass. He also has pending an unaccused misdemeanor financial transaction card fraud case, 24 PI 001949. Judge, I understand 204 days. However, this defendant does have a bond. The state has roughly 4 months to indict it before there's any presumption of prejudice at all. has 3 years and 4 months before there's any prejudice and legal prejudice to this defendant for this, given the fact that he does have the indicted case, given the fact that there is no possibility of legal prejudice and there is no basis in either fact or law to disturb his bond at this time, the state as opposed to any change in the bond, further.
Your Honor, if I may.
Of course, Ms. Beck.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that the state brought up any presumptions because he does have the presumption of innocence. Unfortunately, he's been sitting in there for 204 days with that presumption of innocence, and the state has chosen not to do anything about that. They have chosen not to indict his case in the last 204 days. So I would ask Your Honor to set a reasonable bond because the state has chosen not to do anything about the bond or his case for 204 days. He has celebrated a birthday while he's been in there. There's been major life milestones for 204 days that he has missed out. And he's obviously a great candidate for Hope House because he was accepted. They believe in mercy. They believe that people can change. So that's why he was accepted there. So we would ask for a bond that he can actually get out and try and change his life.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 6615 Roswell Road and 7525 Roswell Road. Must supply an address where you'll be living. If something falls through with Hope House or once you move from Hope House, sir, you need to make sure you supply an address where you're living. No further contact with Blake Howell, Howe, and Blake Garrett, Garrett. I'll give you 250, 1,000, and 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Cobb, you can leave too. All right. Benjamin Cox. Raise your hand, Benjamin Cox.
Judge, I do have a question about Lindsay's charges. I think he only had 3 charges and you gave 4.
Okay, because I said, okay. Wait a minute. Which one was the disorderly? Which one was dismissed? Cruelty in the third?
Yes, the last one.
Okay, well then just scratch that off.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, that was my mistake.
No, mine too. The bond order just was different from my calendar. Sorry about that. Benjamin Cox. Who's Benjamin Cox? Wave your hand if you're Benjamin Cox, gentlemen. Don't see anybody waving the hand. Do you see him?
Judge, he's, I apologize, Judge, he's in North 206.
So I got, Mr. Cox, can you hear me? Wave your hand.
Mr. Cox, wave your, there he is.
There we go. Okay. All right, it's number 2, 24 PI 004836, 94 days without indictment. $30,000 good bond is July 30th on arson in first degree, criminal damage to property in the first degree.
In regards to Mr. Cox, 26 cycles, a simple assault and obstruction and misdemeanor in 2019, FTA in 21, history of criminal trespass, no prior felony convictions for his GCIC. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Cox has been in jail for 93 days. He has lived in the metro Atlanta area for about 5 years. Much of his extended family lives here in the way of aunts, uncles, and cousins. He is physically disabled and therefore is very limited in what work he can do. He did glass installation for as long as he could, but now only gets SSDI income, which he does not currently have access to. Judge, the only route that we have to secure Mr. Cox's release pre-indictment would be to get bail assistance. He was not homeless at the time of these allegations. However, because of these allegations, he has since become homeless. I have, of course, made a social work order request in an attempt to try to get Mr. Cox in another rooming house situation, which is where he was residing at the time that he was picked up on this case. As Your Honor is well aware, no bail assistance or organization will pay that bond for Mr. Cox till we have a verifiable address where he can live. In the way of criminal history, Judge, this is his first arrest since 2021. He is not a convicted felon, and there was only one FTA through several cycles, and none of his past criminal history resembles what he is accused of in this case in any way. We understand this is not a evidentiary hearing, but from the warrant itself and what the state is alleging against Mr. Cox, the reason he's accused of this arson is because someone in the house saw him in a argument a bit before. Again, this is not a evidentiary hearing, but we did want to put that forth for the court's consideration in setting bond as it goes to the element of danger. Judge, for all of those reasons, we are asking for Mr. Cox's bond to be reduced today from $30,000 aggregate to $10,000, $5,000 per count. Thank you.
Any victim contact?
Your Honor, a text message and an email was sent to the victim with no response.
All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
Judge, the fire was actually apparently Mr. Cox's room in the rooming house that he was a resident at. I'm sure Your Honors reviewed the warrants and seen that this is in fact the allegation that they set the rooming house he was at on fire. Judge, this is another one where this defendant for first-degree arson, $30,000 is an extremely reasonable bond. Whether or not this defendant has a history of this type of behavior or not. He's only been in for 93 days. He does have a bond. He received that bond on July the 30th, which is only 68 days ago. Not sure why we're revisiting it so early, especially because the state has 9 months before any possibility of prejudice attaches, has 3 years and 9 months before any legal prejudice attaches. And just to point out, Judge, the presumption of innocence is the only reason that defendants are entitled to a bond. Once the presumption disappears, there is no more possibility for bond under any circumstances. And the law in this state, as codified in 17-6-1E, is that a defendant has to meet 4 factors in order to be eligible for a bond. Those 4 factors also govern the amount of the bond and the conditions of the bond. Your Honor, there is no basis in law or fact and no attachment of any presumption of innocence, despite what my learned colleague would have the court believe. That just simply doesn't apply here. Judge, there's no reason to disturb this bond. 30,000 is certainly more than reasonable, and the state is opposed to any change in the bond at this time. Nothing further.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 950 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest in Atlanta, Georgia. No further contact with JIMOH Campbell, CAMPBELL, last name ALIYA. You'll have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. Also, must supply an address where you'll be living upon release. So I'll do 23,000 and 3,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Let's see. Jesse Callaway. Wave your hand if you're Jesse Callaway. All right. All right, Ms. Gerber. It's position 8, Bostic 24, PI 004747, 98 days without indictment. Got a $50,000 good bond as of August 19th on, wait a minute now, something else may have been. So is the only, Ms. Gerber, is the only thing pending here possession of a firearm?
No, I believe there is still the robbery that's pending.
All right, the armory robbery or armed robbery?
I
think
Let
it's,
me double check my paperwork.
looks
I
like it
believe
might
it's
be.
an armed robbery.
All right, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and armed robbery, $50,000 good bond, 98 days without indictment. Ah. Number 8, Boston.
Callaway, 23 cycles, marijuana with intent, marijuana misdemeanor in 2015, disorderly conduct, given false name in 2010. Other felonies are open case for terroristic threats and acts, 24 PI 002919, theft by taking, theft of service, 23 CP 223263. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Gerber.
Yes, Your Honor, and I am just looking up his jailing because the initial booking was on robbery and not armed robbery. And I'm looking to see what the
Robbery as well.
I don't
Look
want
like they,
Going robbery, Judge.
so they dismissed robbery and replaced it with armed robbery.
No, I'm just showing him, hang on.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm just showing an order of dismissal on the robbery, and it looks like the only thing that's left is the firearm. That's bizarre.
August 19th, there was also an armed robbery on here on the bond order. If you look at it.
The robbery was dismissed and it looked like they changed it to armed robbery at some point.
All right, yeah, so it's just not showing in the jail screen.
That's where I see it is on the jailing.
Judge,
Talk about on Odyssey. Yeah, it looks like, so when you, on the 19th, the order of commitment Superior Court added armed robbery, dismissed robbery.
all right, I see.
Yeah, so it's a $50,000 bond.
And so, Your Honor, I understand that, having bond on an armed robbery, while we do appreciate that, the basis for our request here and the request in the reduction is based on Mr. Callaway's ability to pay, which of course is a consideration that, the court takes into account, under the statute that, the amount necessary
Hold
to
on, Ms. Gerber. Hold on, Ms. Gerber. 5 North, booth 3. Stop. Not a salon. Pay attention. Focus. Go ahead, Ms. Gerber.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Callaway does actually have a property that his wife has tried to use here in Fulton County to bond him out. Just an old piece of land. And unfortunately, although they've been legally married and living here, and I believe they've been legally married for about 35 years, the property is in his name alone, and he can't be the guarantor for himself in signing that paperwork. And so unfortunately, he's found himself in a bit of a bind where he thought initially that he'd be able to make this amount. He is not able to. He's 57 years old, and he's actually lived at 2369 Jackson Drive in East Point for over 10 years. He has a limited history and is eager. This is a situation where I believe the folks involved know each other. This is not a strangers interacting type of situation, and is eager to represent, be present at every court date so that the truth comes forward ultimately. And so we believe he is a great candidate, not only for a reduced bond because of his eagerness to return and present his defense. He has significant ties to the community. That $50,000 amount is outside of what his means are able to cover. So we would ask for a reduction in half down to 25, if Your Honor would consider it, 25 total.
Any victim contact, Ms. Dorsey Jones?
Yeah, Your Honor, there were 2 text message and 1 voicemail left.
Okay, no response.
No, ma'am.
All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
Judge, as the court is aware from the warrants, this is an armed robbery of basically a convenience store using an AK-47 as the weapon of choice.
And Your Honor, the warrants do indicate that although it looked like an AK-47, it was a BB gun, which is why Mr. Callaway is eager to return to court and contest some of these facts that we're looking at.
All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
Judge, bond was last addressed and set on August the 19th. what is that? 40 days ago? On an armed robbery. That there is no reason to be addressing bonds, especially not on serious violent offenses, every 40 days. It's frankly an abuse of the court system, and it's a drain on resources that could be much better used elsewhere. Judge, this is one where this defendant, the original arrest, he was actually on bond for theft by taking at the time of the original arrest. This isn't someone with a limited record as was portrayed, but rather this is a career criminal who's while he's on bond for a theft by taking, commits another theft related offense. There's just no reason for us to be here on this. The state is opposed to any reduction in the bond. $45,000 bond that was set on August the 19th is certainly charitable for an armed robbery. And the state is opposed to anything to disturb it, nothing further.
Mr. Galloway, I would venture to guess Ms. Gerber doesn't want you to say a word, and you're on mute. So no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 3094 Washington Road in East Point. Also, when you get out, you have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, and medical. That's the only reason you leave your home, sir. Court, lawyer, and medical. No further contact with M as in Mary, D as in David, last name U-D-D-E-N. M-D, last name U-D-D-E-N. All right. So we got 4,000 and 44,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You could leave the booth. Corey Jones. Wave your hand if you're Corey Jones. There we go. All right. So position 1, Bostic, 24 PI 004849. 93 days without indictment. There's a $6,000 good bond as of July 30th. I got Erring Aldo with intent to commit a theft or a felony and willful obstruction. Wow.
In regards to Jones, multi-state offender, 23 cycles in Kentucky, a FTA, history of criminal trespass, 3 in Arizona, 1 in Texas, 5 in California, threatened school public officer in 04, 34 in Georgia, FTA, history of criminal trespass, open criminal trespass, 23 CR 0059 23G. Open case in DeKalb for public PI, first or second. Nothing further.
All right. Any victim contact?
Yeah, Honor, there was a message left for Daniel SCHEMESQE, I think it is. But when I called, they stated that they would call me back and I didn't get a call back. So I did send a text explaining the nature of the call.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Jones is 47 years old. He has lived in the metro at Atlanta area for the past several years. Judge, Mr. Jones is homeless. We've made a social work order request for both MH treatment and a placement, and our plan is to get bail assistance once we have that. So I ideally, if we're able to, before the state moves the case forward, we can get him a placement and treatment, and then secure his release through the bail project. Judge, his criminal history is almost entirely nonviolent, if not totally non-violent. These are nonviolent charges here. Today, he has been in for 93 days to this point, and has not been able to make the current bond. He's not going to be able to make any bond, which is why I've mentioned all these things about the bail project and whatnot. And that is, of course, a factor to be considered by the court in setting bond. For those reasons, Judge, I'm asking for $3,000 on the entering auto and $500 on the willful obstruction misdemeanor, for a total of $3,500. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, Mr. White.
Yeah, this defendant has managed to pick up 40 cycles in 5 states in the 29 years that he has been an adult. And he's only been in, I mean, this
93 days.
yeah, but his bond has only been set for 68. And so here it is, we are 67 days since his last bond was set, reconsidering a bond where there is no possibility of any presumption of prejudice for at least 9 months. There is no prejudice for at least 3 years and 9 months. There is no basis for reconsidering this. There is no reason to reconsider the bond, especially given the fact that we're dealing with a career criminal who is likely to pick up a 6th state in his nationwide crime wave when he's eventually released from confinement. This isn't a question as to if he'll reoffend. It's a question as to when and where he will reoffend when he's eventually released from confinement. Judge, $6,000 bond in this case is nominal, charitable, dangerously low. The state would recommend on the entering auto a bond of not less than $50,000, and on the misdemeanor obstruction a bond of not less than $5,000, or a total bond of $55,000. That would certainly be more appropriate and actually be a much more reasonable bond, which would better suit all of the reasons for bond than a $6,000 nominal bond that is being reconsidered every 60 days. Nothing further.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Must supply an address where you'll be living upon release. No further contact with Daniel Schmeiser, SCHMEISSER. Stay away from 4375 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Cannot go back there. $4,500, $4,500, $4,500 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Judge. My third case on tonight's docket was indicted. May I please be excused?
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, Johnny Mattis. Wave your hand if you're Johnny Mattis. You can leave the booth, sir. Johnny Mattis. Wave your hand so I can see you. Wave your hand. I cannot see anybody wave their hand. Johnny Mattis, raise your hand up. There we go. Position 9, 24 PI 005168, 97 days without indictment, $15,000 good bond on aggravated assault. Wow.
In regards to Mr. Mathis, 1 arrest in Michigan, dismissed, 30 in Georgia. All his convictions are old. Most recent, I believe, was in the 90s for theft by receiving and burglary. He's in custody on a misdemeanor FP8. I think that also was dismissed. He got time served on the criminal trespass. Nothing further.
All right. Any victim contact?
A victim was contacted by the name of Torres, HORSICO. It was 2 attempts via phone call and 1 text message.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Murray.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was actually hoping to request, and I just wanted to make sure that Mr. Mathis heard this. I was actually hoping to request that we reset this case for 2 weeks. The reason being is that my social worker has been working on getting Mr. Mathis into a program, and Better Way Ministry should be out to interview him soon. I just want to give him the best chance at getting his bond reduced to an amount that perhaps could be posted through the bail project. And so we would ask for it to be maybe pushed out to what is the 22nd, so that there's time for Better Way Ministries to interview him and to get the best reduction possible.
All right, you got that, Mr. Dukes?
Yes, Judge, I got that.
All right, see you back in 2 weeks, sir. You can leave the booth.
Okay, thank you.
I got position 4, Isaiah Madison. It's 4, 5, and 6. Mr. Madison, there we go. All right, position 4, 24 PI 004809, 95 days without indictment. No bond as of July the 6th on hijacking motor vehicle in first degree, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Number 5, 24 PI 004 810, 95 days without indictment. No bond as of July the 6th on armed robbery. And position 6 is 24 PI 004 811, 95 days without indictment. No bond on terroristic threats and acts. Trial.
Second Madison, Isaiah, 11 cycles. On probation for aggravated assault with deadly weapon, 4 counts. With intent to rob, 19 SC 171485, 19 SC 171639, 19 SC 171733. All sentenced same day, 11/16/22 for 16 years. And then in Cobb for theft by receiving. Did we do 8 and 9? And then there's open 24 PI 00635 armed robbery, hijacking, aggravated assault, firearm during. And then I already said that. Nothing further.
All right. Any victim contact, Ms. Dorsey Jones?
Yes, Your Honor, I did speak with someone and they said they do not want to discuss the case. They would prefer if the judge took care of the matter.
Okay, we'll do that. Ms. Gerber?
Yes, Your Honor, the basis for our request today is that it has been no bond for 90 days without an indictment. So we do believe that Mr. Madison is entitled to bond on, by my count, it's the 5 charges that are before Your Honor. He will be living at the family home, his uncle's place, at 1004 Catherwood Drive, 30310, and believes that he can get work at the Duracell warehouse. That's where he was working most recently. He is forklift certified and so can maintain gainful employment. He received his GED in 2017 and has also had experience working at Wendy's in and around the Atlanta area. And so we would request that he be allowed to stay within Fulton County because that Catherwood Drive, based on my understanding, is in the Fulton County area. He's 25 years old, but has quite a few kids that he would be taking care of and providing for if released. And although he has these new charges, my understanding is that he has been in touch with probation, was communicative when he was on the outside. And so I do believe that he will be able to comply with any of the conditions that Your Honor might impose on a bond. That said, he has been in custody more than 90 days and he does not have great means. And so we're asking for as low as Your Honor can go for bond in this matter so that he can hopefully work on fighting these cases from the outside of custody. And that is our presentation. I do understand there's probation matters that he will have to handle, or he did that this morning, I think. So probation is handled this morning, and then eventually there will be, I'm sure on the 6635 case, more hearings, but we'd ask Your Honor to set a low bond.
All right. Did they revoke his probation?
I am not sure, Mr. Madison.
Oh, well, he's on mute, so you didn't handle that, right?
I did not, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. White.
It's absolutely inexcusable that our office failed to indict these within 90 days. Especially given the fact that this defendant has a September 11th, 2024 arrest for armed robbery, hijacking a motor vehicle, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, which are, well, identical to what he's in for here and very, very similar to what he's currently on probation for from 2019 and for his previous 2017 conviction. of almost identical conduct. Judge, it's frankly inexcusable and frankly inexplicable as to how we did not get this indictment. State would request that any bond that the court is inclined to set include a strict 24-hour curfew, only exceptions being medical emergencies when taken from his house in an ambulance and in-person court appearances. State would request that that curfew be enforced by an ankle monitor. Nothing further.
All right, on position 4, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 1500 Riverwood Lane in Roswell, Georgia. No further contact with Frederick Jackson. If the funds are available, you're going to have a 24-hour curfew with the ankle monitor paid for by the county. The only reason you leave your house is court, meet with your lawyer, or medical procedures. So I do 75,000, 20,000, and 20,000. Position 5. Ending in 4810, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 895 Holcomb Bridge Road in Roswell, Georgia. No further contact with Raymond Madden, Madden. That ankle monitor be provided by the county if there's funds with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. That's the only reason you leave your house, sir. $40,000 good bond. On position 6, ending in 811. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 261 Grove Place in Roswell, Georgia. No further contact with, what in the world did I just write down here? Andrew Wellington, Wellington. If available, you have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical is the only reason you leave your house, sir. $25,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Ms. Gerber.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. I guess you're Mr. Sutton. You can leave the booth, sir. All right. So I got position 12. Let's see. It's 24 PI 004 772, 98 days without indictment. We got a $85,000 good bond. I've got, let's see. Manufacture, distribution, possession with intent to distribute substance in Schedule 1 or 2. Purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, sale of marijuana. Manufacture, deliver, distribute, controlled substance in Schedule 1 or 2. What I wrote down is 408 grams of marijuana and 1,018 MDA pills, allegedly. Pre-trial.
Sutton. Maryland, 2 cycles, deadly weapon, concealed misdemeanor. Georgia, 11 cycles, purchase, possession. And 02, fugitive from justice, prior arrest, open case 23 SC 187-109. Ag assault, 2 counts. Ag assault with intent, capital, firearm during firearm by a convicted felon. Last arrest was in 2020. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Beck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sutton is 41 years old. We do have a good address for him. It is the address that is on file. He will be living there with some family members. He has lived in Atlanta since 2000. He does have most of his family that lives here in the state. He got his GED back in 2002. Prior to his arrest, he was working at the banks on Bankhead. It's an event space. He was working there as a bodyguard, and he had that job for 2 years. He recently had 2 deaths in his family. He is anxious to get back home so that he can adequately mourn their losses. We would be asking for a bond not to exceed $50,000, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. White.
This defendant has, as was noted, a pending ag assault 23 SC 187-109. With a looks like $160,000 bond that I don't see that this defendant has made. And then he has this new case. I guess he did make it because he picked up this new case. For trafficking in level 3 trafficking in multiple substances. The bond is certainly more than reasonable. was set. Judge, this is last order for bond was July the 30th.
Yes.
We're 68 days out. And it's only a $95,000 bond on an offense that the conviction carries a $500,000 fine that's mandatory. That just hurts my head to even think about what possible logic there was. I'm sorry, $85,000 bond to setting such a low bond, given the sentence in this case. Certainly a bond that would be at least the minimum fine required by law would be more appropriate. And on what basis is there to reconsider the bond in this case, especially given the fact that we're only 68 days since the last bond, that he does have a bond, that he's on bond for another offense pending before Judge Dunaway's division. Your Honor, there is no basis for disturbing this bond at all. If there's anything that needs to be done with this bond, it needs to be raised from $85,000 to $500,000. So it is the state's request that this bond be raised to $500,000 to more accurately reflect the charges that this defendant is facing. And also, just because that much better would fit the statutory requirements for bond and the statutory mandates. 68 days. I really can't fathom why we're here only 68 days after the bond was set. Nothing.
Your Honor, if I may be able to clear that up a little bit. It's actually not a statute that requires them to be heard every 90 days. In fact, other counties in Georgia hear clients every like 2 to 3 weeks until they're indicted. It's a Fulton County oddity that we wait every 90 days. I think that was based on ORCA, like, you know, all the backlogs, so they had to wait every 90 days. So within 68 days is not outside of any statute or anything wild. Just because he was heard 68 days ago does not mean that it cannot be changed. Actually, I feel because it was scheduled for this calendar, that means that it can. And you absolutely have that ability to change the bond. And regarding the $500,000 request, that fine that's mandatory is only if he is found guilty. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to be found guilty until he's indicted, and he does have that presumption of innocence. So until he is indicted, if he is found guilty of that trafficking charge, then that would be when we can get into that $500,000. Until then, because he has that presumption of innocence, that's not even a question. So we would be asking for a reasonable bond because he has just been sitting in there for around 90 days in total. So that would still be our request.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. Stay away from 3749 Campbellton Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see. You have a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. You said he's got a job?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Employment, we have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. All right. So I got 12,000, 49,000, and 18,000. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you. Right, so it looks like that is it. Hopefully, if any of you folks have anybody that's in Florida, really South Georgia, they stay safe during this hurricane.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Thank you. Oh, Miss Beck, on the other case, make sure that Ms. Browning submits an order for a 30-day supply of medication.
Okay.
Down on my notes.
Thank you, Judge Manny.
She's out for like 2 weeks, but I will send that note to her. But that's why there may be the delay.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Viola Morrell from Court Watch. I don't have any information on position number 11, Stefan Daigle. Can you help me with that? I must have just missed it.
It was indicted.
Daigle was indicted? 'Cause that
Daigle-
was Browning's as well.
Daigle was indicted and where's the other?
Okay. Thank
Daigle
you.
and Sterling Hood.
Equals indictment number 24 SC 004875.
And also, wait, let me see. And also Hood was indicted.
I thought it was
Sterling
over.
Hood, indictment 24 SC 004781 signed to Cox.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now it's over. Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna make it quick. If you want to see more of this Manning stuff, come by here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. I guess that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, whatever time you like. Come by here on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to see a kind of a roundabout court crawl of various cases, and hopefully we'll have some Fleischer. Love all you guys. It's been great. Chat's been awesome. We'll see you next time. I am your lone wolf Usul. We're on to Runkle of the Bailey. Love this guy.